weeks ago, I did an unboxing of a phone and showed you all the things that come with it. I bought it for $120 after shipping from Amazon.com. That phone is the Doogee Valencia 2 Y100 Pro, which you see right here. Um, so this time I'm going to do a review of the phone and tell you how I feel about the phone after using it for about a month. Now this Valencia Y100 Pro has a 5-inch 1280 by 780p Gorilla Glass screen, which is cool because iPhones don't seem like they have it. Maybe they say they do, I haven't checked the specs, but those things break very often. This thing's fallen a few times and it's still fine. Has quad-core 1 GHz processor. It's tri-band, multi-SIM, so you can put 2 SIM cards in there. So you can, like, for example, have your T-Mobile card from here, and then you can have like your girl on the side SIM card on the other slot to have another number, so you can get different calls and just disable it when you're around your real girlfriend or your wife. Then it also has 13 megapixel rear sensor, 8 megapixel front, although it doesn't really matter because it sucks either way, both sides. 2 gigabytes of RAM, 16 gigabytes of capacity to put all your music and your apps and all your stuff. And it's 4G. And I have to admit, it's really, really fast. You're not going to find this 4G being slow. It gets me like 500 megabyte per second downloads. It'll download like a 10 megabyte file in just like less than a minute. It's amazing. And one of the best things about it is that it has Android 5.1. The reason that I like that is because there's a few apps that I've been trying to use that have not been working with all the older Androids. I think the last one I had was like 4.3.1, and 5.1 like fixes all those issues. And another thing is that it has 64-bit. Most people don't know what that means, but basically most phones are 32-bit architecture. 64-bit is of course more than that. Right now, this phone has 2 gigabytes of RAM, random access memory, which sort of affects how much stuff you can have open at the same time. The difference between 32 and 64, the most basic difference is 64-bit lets you have more than 8 gigabytes of RAM. So they say that it shouldn't make too much difference in this phone that has 2 gigabytes of RAM. But I'm not sure if that makes a difference or not, but all I know is while using the phone, it feels great. It barely ever like crashes or lags or anything like that. And if you just take a look at stuff I have open on it, can you see that? Stuff, 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 stuff. Lots of stuff. And it's still going. Stuff, 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 stuff. All that crap open, and no lag issues. It just keeps going perfectly. So maybe that has something to do with 64-bit architecture, but maybe not. As far as the Doogee name goes, I really don't mind the name. I don't really look at name when it comes to buying a phone, except for like, I don't like buying Samsung, I don't like buying LG, or like, of course I don't like the iPhone. Those Samsungs and LGs, they come with, it seems like they run slower for some reason. Maybe they get installed with all this stuff you don't need, and slows everything down. Whereas I get on this phone and it's fast, fast, fast. Ooh, I need my phone. There it is. Or, oh, I need my text messages. There it is. Or I need the internet. There it is. So there's none of that crud cluttering up the system, making it run slower than it should. And a little bit about how the phone looks, how the phone feels. Now the phone, here it is without the case. It's got sort of a metallic looking back, which is not, it's plastic, and the front's okay. The only thing I'll mention is this little plastic film that comes on top of it, which is like, it's the screen protector. It comes on the phone. It's fallen off a little bit, but that's okay. I'll pull it off sometime anyways. Sometime, maybe like replace it with something better. But it came with the phone, it was free. I'm not complaining at all. Now there's this little weird case that came with the phone as well. It's free. Right now, it's nice because I get to put my little wallet thing on it, and so all that crud goes on there instead of my phone. Hello, how are you doing? And another thing about it is that it seems very cheap. It bends like that. It's very, doesn't do any, who knows if it protects it or not. Maybe the weakness and the bendiness is part of the design. Maybe it absorbs energy when it falls. All I know is I have dropped the phone a few times and no issues. It's still, I was like, oh shit, it fell. And is the screen cracked? Nope, it's perfect. And I'm still using it after a month. And I've had an issue with phone screens breaking. Um, Probably two nice phones in the past the past year I've dropped, so I've had bad luck with that. And as far as the design goes, it feels comfortable in the hand to use. I've actually gotten used to holding it with that case on and my rubber wallet thing, so it feels more comfortable like that to me. But it's not too thick, it's a thin phone, and it's a 5-inch screen, so my thumbs in particular, they reach all the way across, which is cool. Is the light going away? Nope. Now next. Oops, I put it upside down. One comment that I've seen is that it's hard to get the battery off. I mean, get the case off to get to the battery. Now I'm just going to give it a try, but it has taken a little bit of learning, but maybe when you first have it, it's pretty hard to do. But you have to give it some really good, put your nail right under there, and give it some really good, give it some juice. And then go to the other side, then pull that side. So now both sides are coming off. You have to loosen both sides, then pull it off. And there it is. The battery is detachable, unlike iPhone and some other fancy phones. You can take the battery out and replace it when it goes bad or is old. Or if you want to have two batteries to have a spare battery, you have a spare battery and put it in there to have double the battery life. Has two SIM card slots, one right there, and a micro SD card slot, in which I put a 32 gigabyte card, so now I have 32 plus 16. 32 plus 16 of space, whatever that adds up to. And then the SIM card was fairly easy to put in there. You just slide it in, and it shows you right there in the picture which way you're supposed to slide it. Okay, let's just put this thing back on. Snap, snap, snap. And then put the free cheap case on. Snap, snap, snap. Oops, I put it upside down again. Let's take the case off. And there we go. Now the screen, the performance, to me is just fine. It's a 720p screen. I know the iPhones and some other phones have like all this really, 1920 by 1080 or higher dot pixel screens and whatever, but for normal use, it looks fine. I look closely, I don't see any pixels really. Am I just blind? Unless you're going to use your phone constantly with a magnifying glass, then you should be fine with its 720p screen on a 5-inch phone. Some people are critics of that and want their $600 iPhone, but this is fine. As far as the viewing angles, you can see that I'm turning the phone, and it still looks fine. It looks fine from that side, looks fine from that side, looks fine. Well, you sort of lose it from the bottom, but you keep it from the top. So that's how it works. Now it's off. The brightness is great. Right now it's on high, and that's on low. Let's put it back on high. There's another thing that I've heard complaints about with this screen is that it only has 1-point touch. And I guess for a bunch of video games, the more advanced ones where you have to use 3 fingers at a time, then that'll become a problem. But as far as my games go, I haven't had an issue with that at all. One thing that I have noticed is that sometimes when I touch something, it doesn't click on the right thing, or it clicks on something very close to it. It's possible that that's my fingers not touching the right spot, but it's really, really hard to tell, and it makes it feel like you're going crazy sometimes. So who knows, phone or not, I have no idea. As far as the way it looks, the way the icons look, the way the software looks, it's a very clean layout, and everything works just fine. I haven't really taken much time to customize my icons or anything, but Everything runs so smoothly and clean that I just don't want to change anything at all. So my downloads, there are a few icons that look different, like the Play Store looks different, the settings look different, so it makes it harder to find at first, but it turns out being just fine. A few more things. Battery life. The battery life is great. I use my phone a lot, so I charge my phone up every night just about, and typically it'll last me all day, unless I'm like on it. Let's say I'm at this job that I'm at right now and I have nothing to do for about 7 hours, then it'll run out around the 6th hour because I'm basically using it playing games on the internet, watching videos the whole time. So it'll last nearly that whole time, the whole shift. But with normal use, going on the internet sometimes, talking on the phone sometimes, a normal day it'll last probably 2 days of use, which I've done before. And as far as the camera goes, which is probably the only really dirty issue of the camera, my biggest complaint is the camera sucks. The camera is really bad. Here are some sample pictures that I'll show you. You can see when you zoom in a little closer to the pictures, you got some like grainy stuff and like in the dark, it's epically really bad. The flash isn't very bright, and the front camera that is supposed to be like the face camera is even worse. Surprisingly, it's possible. But basically, that is my impression of this phone. For 120 bucks, you really can't lose. I really love using it. And I have this camera I'm speaking to you right now on, so I don't need this camera at all. So that was the Doogee Valencia 2 Y100 Pro, and thanks for watching, and let's see if I have some time today. I'm going to do this in Spanish too. Alright, peace.